For thousands of years, it was a frigid fortress, an impenetrable wall of ice at the top of the world. But the temperature of our planet is rising, and it is far more intense in the Arctic, and the ice and glaciers are vanishing quicker than we thought. And as it melts, a new map is emerging, one that has turned a quiet, autonomous territory into the most wanted piece of real estate on Earth. Those are the words of President Trump. He's not talking about a border wall or a trade deal. He's talking about buying or taking an entire country.
And we need it for national protection. We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population.
Is this the masterstroke of national security or the beginning of a dark new era of arm-twisting, big dog eats smaller dog diplomacy? Look at the world from above, from Arctic view. You have seen this map before. It's the same azimuthal equidistant map featured on the UN logo. From this angle, the geopolitical tidbits of our current world suddenly becomes a clear, high-stakes game. At the center sits Greenland, the world's largest island covering 2.1 million square kilometers. It is exactly the size of Saudi Arabia, the largest country in the Middle East. Home to 57,000 people, 90% of them are indigenous Inuit. Greenland is the vast, icy, frigid, heavenly and beautiful edge of the world where humans survived and thrived for 5,000 years since early Paleo-Eskimo settlements. Although part of North American continent, geopolitically the island is part of Europe, stretching back to 1721 when Danish missionaries led by Norwegian Hans Egede first colonized the land. Today, it remains a self-governing autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. The American interest in owning Greenland is a recurring theme of US geopolitical history. This isn't the first time Greenland has been on the table. At one point, America had total control of the continental island. During the Second World War, Nazi Germany occupied Denmark, cutting off Greenland from Copenhagen. Then Danish ambassador to US strike a defense agreement with Greenland.
History was made when Henrik de Kaufmann, minister from Denmark, and the United States government signed an agreement permitting the United States to take over the protection of Greenland.
US militarized the island with fear that Nazis might use that landmass to attack mainland US. After the war, the island was returned to Denmark in 1945. The following year, Truman administration offered $100 million in gold to purchase the island, which Denmark refused. During the Cold War, the US began treating Greenland as its most important northern outpost, but this security came at a heavy price for the locals. In 1953, native Inuits were forcibly uprooted from their ancestral lands to make way for the expansion of Thule Air Base.
Thrusting 700 miles into the Arctic Circle, Thule was built with permission of the Danish government. Born out of strategic necessity,
A move eventually led them to the European Court of Human Rights, seeking the right to return home. But it wasn't just the land US was taking, it was keeping secrets. Despite Denmark's strict ban on nuclear weapons, the US stored atomic bombs on the island without Greenland's knowledge. This nuclear mischief turned into a nightmare in 1968 when a B-52 bomber carrying 4 hydrogen bombs crashed near Thule, contaminating the ice with radioactive plutonium. By 2004, when a new agreement allowed Washington to upgrade its missile defense at the base, now renamed as Pitofik Space Base, it sparked a modern movement for autonomy. For many Greenlanders, US involvement isn't just about protection. It's a reminder of a history of broken trust and environmental scars, as Greenlandic lives depend entirely on Mother Nature. Under the same Cold War treaty, American forces already enjoy almost unfettered military access to the island, which many Greenlanders were quick to point out. The 1951 agreement grants the US total operational command, from building massive bases to controlling every ship, plane, and soldier on the island. As the ice shrinks, it reveals more than just land. It's uncovering the 21st century's most vital treasure chest. Beneath the permafrost lie massive deposits of critical minerals: graphite, copper, nickel, lithium, whatnot. In the age of electric vehicles, fighter jets, and advanced electronics, these elements are becoming more valuable than gold. Currently, China dominates the global supply chain, controlling nearly 70% of rare earth mining and 90% of processing capacity. Washington views this as a strategic choke point. Greenland currently does little to no mining, but it has the potential to upend the global balance of power overnight. It ranks roughly 8th in the world for rare earth reserves, with two of the largest known deposits, Thunbridge and Kevanafjell, holding enough material to power the world's high-tech industry for decades. But the race is already messy. In 2025, high-stakes lobbying by the US officials narrowly blocked a Chinese-linked buyer from acquiring Thunbridge deposit. Other than minerals, Arctic could be a shortcut shipping route from North America to Asia, saving time and fuel on the global trade. For example, from China to UK, Arctic Northern Sea route can save 7 days and more than 3,000 nautical miles. However, increased trade brings significant strategic and military vulnerabilities. These are Russian military bases in the Arctic, a far greater number than the United States or its allies. There is no denying that the region is rapidly becoming a zone of intense rivalry among world's major powers, a trend that will only accelerate in the coming decades. For Trump, Greenland isn't just a military base, it's a prize in a brutal industrial competition.
Well, he said the other day, we need Greenland psychologically. The United States does not need Greenland psychologically. Donald Trump does. Why? This is not about American national security. This is about Donald Trump alone.
In his first term, real estate billionaire Donald Trump wanted Greenland just as is one of his property deals.
I'll tell you that essentially it's a large real estate deal. A lot of things could be done. It's hurting Denmark very badly because they're losing almost $700 million.
But now Trump's excuse is the same old national security. He claims America's foes, China and Russia, are sending ships to take over the Arctic.
Strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland.
So how is Europe reacting? In a word, defiance. Norway's foreign minister Espen Barth Eide has been blunt. He stated there is simply no evidence of Russian or Chinese warships operating near Greenland. He and other Nordic diplomats who have access to the same NATO intelligence as in the White House say the threat is being manufactured. Think about the timing. Europe is already at war on its eastern flank, grappling with Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Now they see their greatest ally, the United States, threatening to take over a fellow NATO member by force. To Copenhagen, this feels like a betrayal.
Branches of governing US will put a stop to this betrayal that we feel it is in Denmark and Greenland.
Denmark isn't just a NATO member. It's a founding member of NATO and experienced the highest per capita military death rate among the coalition forces in Afghanistan. Unlike before, European leaders are standing their ground against Trump.
Up for sales. We will not be blackmailed. We will stand up for the Swedish people and we will stand up for our neighboring allies.
Obviously, we'll be facing bigger tensions between Europe and the United States.
Do you think
in a time to come? And we'll have to get ready for that.
Under Operation Arctic Endurance, Germany, France, Sweden, UK and several NATO countries have sent troops and planners to Greenland as a show of support to Denmark.
I Grønland, hvor vi er byde. Og det er en vigtig del af at anvende sin udrustning, som kan være simpelt hjemme.
In retaliation, Trump said he would enforce 10% tariffs on imports on several European allies for sending troops to take part in military exercises in Greenland, which he backtracked later. Just think for once, during the Second World War, America sent troops to protect Greenland from Germany, and now America is the aggressor and Germany is the protector. Though Europe has some economic and geopolitical leverage, Brussels is walking on a razor-thin tightrope. It needs Washington's help to keep Ukraine from falling to Putin's hands. Yet they cannot ignore a US president who recently posted that anything less than total control of Greenland is unacceptable, as Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen warned.
Well, if the US chooses to attack another NATO country, then everything stops.
Recent high-level meetings between top-level Danish, Greenlandic and American officials didn't reach any consensus. On the ground nuke, the sentiment is far from welcoming. The most important stakeholders of this battle, the Greenlanders, staged large-scale protests facing the US Embassy.
Greenland not for sale!
Top Greenlandic officials have made their position clear. Pipaluk Lange, chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, put it bluntly, "We are not going to sell our soul, we are not stupid." Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen has been even more defiant. Following recent Truth Social posts from Washington, he scoffed at the idea of being treated like a piece of real estate.
Of course, but we want it in mutual respect. We will never be for sale and we will never be Americans.
He isn't just speaking for himself. Recent polling shows that a staggering 85% of Greenlanders oppose an American takeover. Even Americans themselves overwhelmingly agree with this sentiment. According to a recent poll by The Economist and YouGov, only 8% of Americans support using military force to seize Greenland. Only 13% support to buy the island out. 64% oppose it. The entire Greenland saga shows how helpless international law, the rules-based order, principles and institutions are in the face of the whims of absolute power. These are not just buzzwords, these are the bedrock on which our human civilization and the world we live in today are built upon, brick by brick. They simply lose their value when those who made them start abusing them. Though Greenland is heating up in the geopolitical battle, let's not forget that the sub-zero Arctic could be a very cold place, especially for those who are not welcome there. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.